The NHS is in danger of losing thousands of doctors overseas because of what's being called the chaos in medical training.
The warning comes from the British Medical Association, the BMA. It wants an urgent meeting with the Health Secretary, Patricia Hewitt, after it discovered that many doctors were prepared to leave the country if they didn't get the jobs they wanted.
The BMA found there'll be 18,500 specialist training jobs on offer in August. However, more than 34,000 doctors will be chasing them.
The BMA surveyed nearly 650 doctors and asked them what they'll do if they're not successful. More than half, 55%, said they may go abroad and train there. Just under half, 44%, would consider leaving medicine altogether. And 39% said they could leave the NHS.
Doctors protested about that at Westminster this morning, but those who aren't offered a specialist training position won't be unemployed and will be offered work. Some are likely to turn that down because they want to train as specialists. In the long term, that's much more lucrative. Well, earlier I spoke to the Health Minister, Lord Hunt, and began by asking him who's responsible for the problems.
Well, there's been a lot of medical bodies involved, the government, the strategic health authorities, the deaneries. A lot of people have been involved in developing modern medical careers. And remember, it's on the back of increasing the number of doctors in the health service. We now have 30,000 extra doctors since 1997. We increased the number of training places. So for patients, it's very good news indeed that we have more doctors than ever before.
But you're going to have a lot of junior doctors without a training job.
Well, it's always been a competitive process, and it should be. We're talking about senior consultants and general practitioners. It's absolutely right that the people we put into those training posts have gone through a competitive process. But it doesn't mean to say that those who are not successful are lost to the system. We have many other doctors working in the NHS, and we'll be looking to give career advice and opportunities to those doctors who are not successful. But we must ensure that this is a competitive process.
Well, in fact, what you've got is a whole lot of junior doctors saying they're so disillusioned they're going to look for work overseas.
Well, I would advise them to wait the outcome of the shortlisting and interview process. I'd be very sorry to lose doctors who want to work in the NHS. But equally, doctors have always gone abroad from the NHS. That's been good for them, and they often come back with much greater experience. So that work experience like that is definitely not to be frowned upon. But those who wish to stay in the NHS, we want to keep them, and we'll do everything we can to help them do so.
The Health Secretary has already apologised to junior doctors, but what they're saying they want is for this new system to be scrapped altogether.
I don't think that would be a very good idea, and we have had an independent review group representing medical organisations and unions themselves who have not recommended that. To do so would cause huge disruption. It's better that we go on with the current system. We've guaranteed all applicants that they will have an interview in their first choice. We will ensure that those interview processes are as rigorous as they can be. And for those who are not successful, we will have programmes and strategies in place to help them stay in the NHS if that is what they want to do.
The Health Minister, Lord Hunt, speaking to me earlier. Well, I'm joined now from Westminster by Dr. Tim Nedas, one of the junior doctors who doesn't know whether he'll have a job in the summer. Dr. Nedas, what is your experience of using this new system?
Good afternoon. The experience of myself and I would say probably 31,000 of the 34,000 applicants is that it's been an absolute disaster. And I think that's an accepted issue by the government now. And what we've got to look for is to unpick the statements by Lord Hunt that we're opposing competition in medicine. That is not the case at all. We're after a fair system, not a system where forms are lost, forms are put in the bin, and the questions asked on those forms are based on unvalidated parameters. So, as usual, Lord Hunt has said that we're opposing competition, and that is not the case. His second point is that it's good news for patients. Well, it's terrible news for patients, and there's no denying it. On the 1st of August, we will all be changing jobs simultaneously. The person that looked after your grandmother, you, or your child on the 31st of July will be halfway across the country on the 1st of August. That is not good news for patients, and the government needs to wake up to this. My final point is
what Lord Hunt also said there was that doctors who don't get training positions will be offered other opportunities. Are you reassured by that?
I am not reassured by that in the slightest. Medicine is a vocation. It's my absolute pride and joy to treat patients and to be part of the NHS. However, if you start telling me that I cannot expand my practice, or you say that to any aspiring young doctor, then the idea of working until the job is done goes out the window. They'll start having people come in and leave when their paid shift is done. And it will be rather embarrassing for them when they end up having to over-recruit doctors to fill positions left by talented young professionals with people to fill jobs.
Dr. Nedas, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, do stay